Tubers, Tubettes, and of course my favorite group of all, crazy people. What would happen if myself or anybody else took their Filipina back home to their home country? In my case, America, North America, for you purists out there. Every time I've floated that out there in the atmosphere, either on video and in person, the majority of the time, men tell me, don't do it. It's a bad idea, bro. She's got a better deal you. She's going to leave you. She just wants her green card. And she's going to be, or if she stays with you, she's going to become Americanized and you're going to end up not liking her over time. So I heard that from men over and over and over again. And then I've also heard the flip side from guys that have said, no, everything was cool and groovy. But the majority of the time, I was given a big warning shot fired across my bow not to do it. I've always been curious what a woman has to say about this. And as the old saying goes, I'd much rather be lucky than good. And this week I got lucky, and I ran into and had lunch with a woman named Freya, who, at the ripe old age of 21, got married to an American and moved to America. That was 16 years ago. She became entrenched in the Filipino community and has seen the good and the bad. And without further ado, I'm going to let you tell you exactly how it worked. Okay, well, Freya, welcome to the little channel.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. Just met Freya a couple days ago with her delightful husband, and you have been married to him for how long?
16 years.
16 years.
Yes.
And for the last 16 years, where have you been living?
In the United States of America.
That's incredible.
USA, yes.
Yeah. And you were, the backstory to you, if I understood you correctly, we had lunch today and you were kind of filling me in. You were 17 years old.
Yes.
When you were approached by your uncle?
Exactly. Like, he's just a family friend.
A family friend,
yeah,
but you called him uncle out
yes.
of respect.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. And what did he say to you?
When I was that year, 17 years old only, he approached me and he asked me if I'm interested to have an American boyfriend, and if I am, he'll gonna wait for like 3 years when I turn 21 and he's gonna go look for an American guy for me. And I said, well, as long as if you're gonna find me a nice guy. And that's when it started.
I'm curious, I think I know the answer to this, but why was he, your family friend, interested in having you meet an American? Why did he think that was a good idea?
Maybe because to me, he's thinking, or he's seeing the life of the Filipino people here in the Philippines. That it's, I'm not gonna say poor, but maybe he wants that person to have that kind of life in America, which is, a good life. And that's probably why he wanted me to have an American boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he wanted you to have maybe more opportunity?
Exactly, giving me opportunity to have a good life. But actually, that's not really the reason why I wanted to have an American boyfriend.
Okay.
Because I never thought about having an American boyfriend until
I don't think at 17 you were thinking about boyfriends
exactly,
at all.
Yeah.
But go ahead, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
It's okay. So, yeah, and it's just that's when he told me, that's when I started thinking about Americans, like living in America, you're going to have all this kind of opportunity, good life,
And so you, at 17, he sort of floated that idea.
Yes.
And what I like to call is he planted the seed and let you think about it.
That's when, thinking about, okay, so maybe we'll see if I'm going to go for it. In 3 years, I'll wait if that's going to,
Okay,
work.
so for 3 years you continued your schooling.
Yes.
You went to college. And then you were 20, 21 years
21
old, something
years
like
old,
that?
yes.
Okay. and then the topic came back up. And did you approach your uncle or friend and say, I thought about this now for 4 years?
No,
and
it's just all of a sudden, like after 3 years, they just message me or talk to me if I'm still interested.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm still interested, and then after that 3 years of waiting, they said, oh, so if you want to have an American boyfriend, I will look one for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is what year?
That was 2005.
2005.
Yes, 2005.
There wasn't. You weren't using Filipino Cupid. There
No,
wasn't
it's
Facebook
through
Messenger.
it's
it was Yahoo Mail.
Yahoo
wasn't it?
Mail. We were communicating through Yahoo Mail. Yes.
And
no cell phones.
No cell phones.
No.
Oh, those were the days.
Yes. Old days. Good old days.
Good old days. Man, oh man.
Yes.
And so you didn't have a computer. So
No.
you would go down to the internet shop?
Yes. I go to an internet cafe, so I can go chat with Jeff, with my husband now.
Okay.
Yes.
And Jeff was working in America.
Yes.
He had been shown a picture of you. He was interested. Were you
Yes.
shown a picture of him?
Yes.
Okay.
He sent me a picture of him too via Yahoo Mail.
Okay.
And actually, I wasn't the first one who saw my husband.
Really?
Yeah, actually, because my friend who introduced me to my husband has a niece who's my neighbor in Bacolod, where I came from. And they actually already knew about Jeff before me.
So Jeff, just like the hot commodity.
Exactly. And they came to my house one time and they said, oh, Freya, you know what? Uncle Tim showed us your future boyfriend. This guy who's very interested to know about you. And I said, okay, well, what can you say about him? They said, he's just a good-looking guy.
Okay, there you go.
That's it.
And you weren't really looking for the wealthiest guy like doctor,
no.
engineer? Because we talked
No.
about this at depth before. So I'll
Yes.
cut to the chase. They said, what do you want? Do you want a doctor? Do you want an engineer? Do you want this guy?
Yes.
She goes, no, I just want a kind man. I just
Yep,
want a nice guy.
That's all I want.
And that's all she wanted.
Nice
and
guy.
so long story short, you guys chatted, I think, for 4 or 5 months. And then he flew over here to meet you.
Yes, exactly.
You guys spent a week together in
Yes.
person, got to know one another, and I'm going to reach over for this,
Sure.
excuse me. And then after that week together, you both discovered that there was indeed some physical attraction, some chemistry.
Yes,
And then
chemistry.
he got on a plane and went back to work, correct?
Correct.
You guys continued your communication for, I think we decided 5 months.
May, June, July, August. Yes, about 5 months.
About 5
yes.
months. Jeff flew back over here, and you guys did what?
Got married.
There you go.
Only 5 months. It took
Okay.
us 5 months
And after
before we
5
got married.
months, you guys were married?
Yes.
After having a long distance communication on Yahoo. A week together, kind of like a test balloon to see if you guys really did like each
Yes.
other. He went back to the States, came back, you guys got married, and then it was how long he started the visa process to bring you back to the States?
8 months at least.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it
for
took
for
8
spouse.
months to process the American side, the Filipino side, which isn't bad, really.
It
8
wasn't
months
bad.
is
It
pretty
was
friggin'
smooth.
quick.
Yeah.
And that went smooth. He flew over here, so you
Yes.
didn't travel alone. And then you flew back to the
with him,
States
yes.
with him. And that was 16 years ago.
16 years ago.
Now here's the meat of
2000.
the matter. You've been with him for 16 years.
Yes.
And you've been living in America for 16 years.
Yes, correct.
What was your initial or first impression of America when you got there? I mean, I know there's culture shock and
Yes, it's a culture
weather
shock.
and food and all that kind of stuff. Was that rough? Was that exciting? Was it
Well,
it
it's a
good?
big adjustment for me because I came from a place that it was so noisy. a lot of
Oh, yeah.
a lot of chickens, hens around, walking around the street, dogs everywhere, jeeps everywhere.
Yeah.
And the humidity too, the weather, a big difference,
Right.
big adjustment. And it's quiet. Over there, it's quiet. And of course, it's away from family. I have that a big adjustment also. But through social media, Skype, all that, I was able, I'm still able to communicate or talk to my family.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And now when you were over there, I was really kind of put back on my heels. You didn't make a lot of American friends.
No.
But
yeah.
you had a big Filipina community that you hung out with.
Especially in California.
Yes.
It's like you're in the Philippines.
So you were in California with Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff was still working. He worked for the
That
railroad.
time, yes.
Okay. And so he would sometimes be out of town for 2 or 3 days.
Yes, he's gone. He's not home every day. He's gone like 1 or 2 days.
And you filled your time hanging out with other Filipinas because there's a
Exactly.
Filipina community
Yes,
there.
mm-hmm.
And what was your impression of those women?
Well,
what was it like?
I'm not saying all Filipinas are, who like to gossip.
Yes, they do.
Who like to.
I can guarantee you 100% do.
Maybe out of 10, maybe 7 or 8, but few ones that are real, who are real, Especially you are not in your country. And that's all they like to do. They like to gossip, And that's the only sad thing about having Filipina friends in the different country.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's all. I mean, like, it's just like you still feel at home when you have Filipino friends. And if you find a good or a real Filipina friends, yes.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the $1 million question. Obviously not you, because you are still happily married to Jeff. And you guys are possibly thinking about relocating here now that he's reached retirement age. And you guys might make this your home. You might make it a part-time home.
Yes.
All your stuff back at home is free and clear. You've planned, or Jeff and you have planned financially very well. You have no debt, all that good, happy stuff. So that's perfect. But here's the $1 million question. Of all the Filipinas that you hung out with and met over the years, how many of them went over there for love, like you did? And how many of them went over there to just get a better deal?
Yeah.
And once they got there, left the guy and went after someone else. Can you address that or explain it?
Well, out of my, let's just say 20 Filipino friends that I've been hanging out with since I first got to the United States, I think out of 20, maybe like half of it, their purpose just to go to the United States and get married to Americans are not real.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's so sad to know. Because, like kind of like me, my purpose is to get married to American guy. I mean, it's a good purpose, you know what I'm saying? Real purpose.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get emotional.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
So it's so sad because just like Americans, they have, they have hearts too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you feel bad for the men? Look at you starting to tear up because you knew these guys, and these guys went over here, I should say, since you and I are sitting in the Philippines. They came over and they fell in love with a Filipina. She told them everything that he wanted to hear. He spent a lot of time, money, and most important, emotional investment in her.
Exactly, yes.
And then she gets here and
They
basically
just
kicks
use
him to the curb, and she better deals him. She gets the lawyer, the doctor,
Exactly,
the $1 million house, the Jaguar, and all that.
Yes.
So 50% is the number that you're coming up with after 15 years of experience, 16 years of experience. So I'm going to call this an expert because I have had so many mixed comments and conversations with guys. And you know what? Now that you've said it, I can honestly tell you that it's about 50-50 in the conversations. I've had men say, Paul, do not take baby May, my wife, to America. You're going to lose her. or you're going to ruin her, or she's going to become Americanized.
Yes,
she's
I've
going to
heard.
become a feminist.
Yes,
She's going to become this. She's
Americanized,
going to
yes,
become that.
yeah.
And so I listen to them, and I don't offer up an opinion.
You proved them wrong.
Well, I haven't done it yet. But other guys have said to me, "Oh, I didn't have any problem. I took my wife over there, and we're still together,
works,
just like you
yes,
guys."
it works,
okay?
yeah.
So I think we can fairly say that
It's not
you got
all.
a 50-50
Yes,
chance
exactly,
if you meet
yes,
somebody. And I think it boils down to, and you actually use these words, it boils down to the person's character to begin with.
Correct.
And when
Yes.
you meet somebody, I don't know what the magic words are, I don't know what the magic formula is, but I mean, a week's time of knowing each other, and then just another week after getting married, I would have put the odds way against you guys, because that was not a lot of time together. Even though you spent time on Yahoo
Yes,
Mail. I mean, just as
for just a short
I
period
come from
of time.
Vegas, so I know odds. You know, I'm thinking, I don't know. But your heart was fair. Your heart was true. You were
Yes.
actually in love with
You're-
Jeff. Jeff is actually in love with you. Love conquers all.
Exactly.
And you guys
It
don't live a big
exists.
highfalutin.
Love exists.
That's
Still.
right. And you guys don't live a big highfalutin lifestyle.
No,
You have a very simple home.
Simple home.
You have a nice, it's paid for, which is great. You have a nice car. You live in a nice neighborhood, and you enjoy your life. Now, when you were there, did you feel like you got Americanized at all, or did you just really hang on to your Filipino roots?
I'm still hanging on to my Filipino roots. Yes.
Did you
'Cause-
witness other women becoming
Yep,
American?
exactly. I've
Go into that. Tell me what happened.
I've met lots of Filipinas who've been there for years in the United States, and they changed into, they are changed into like an American.
Give me a
And-
definition of an American woman.
Like, they don't really, like for example, when we go out, and when it's about like 5 or 6 o'clock, and their husband's still waiting at their house for them to come home, and then they're just like, well, I'm still out with my friends, so you're gonna wait till I get home. So to me, that's not kind of like right, because Filipinas, mostly we were raised taking care of our husbands, and like by 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, you're still hanging out with friends, and your husband are waiting for you at home, and you know that that's about time for you to come home so you can make his dinners, right? So that's kind of like of example
Okay.
that I could,
So 5 out of 10 women, according to our own numbers here, would just tell the guy it was like a power shift.
yeah.
She was no longer feeling like she needed to be home to take care of her
Yes,
husband, to
yeah,
prepare the meal,
fair.
make sure everything's cool. It was all about her
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
She was out with her girlfriends. She's independent now.
Right,
She's her own woman.
Yep.
She's going to do what she
She can
wants
do whatever
to do.
she wants. She can go home
And
whenever
she's not
she
going to
wants.
listen to him.
Yep.
And if her girlfriend says something that has more impact than what
Yes.
her husband says. Again, I think that goes down to character and personality
Yeah.
and just the basic morals.
Yeah, but sometimes it also depends on your relationship. If your husband is okay with him to go out and you stay out whole night, that's okay. But like us Filipina, we think that we think that way. Like, oh, my husband is home by himself, and I think it's time for me to go home. To take care of him. And that's how I am.
I have one more question. We're always beating up the Filipinas. No, face it. I mean, we're how many are this and how many are that, right? I got another question for you. How many of the 10 guys were lousy husbands? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like they bring the girl over or the woman over and they marry her and you were tearing up because you saw these guys as loving, caring, compassionate, invested emotionally, financially, and everything else. Were any of those guys like divorceable? I mean, were they like whacking the girls or Were they, hitting them, or were they mistreating them, or yelling at them? Or
Yes.
yeah.
I've seen some of my friends who they're married to Americans who have no respects
Okay.
towards them. They like in public, like we gathered, like for example, if we gather, we're getting together, and then just like all of a sudden, one of my friend's husband, he just yell at her.
Okay.
And that's
you
not
never
like
do that.
that's not right. Yeah.
Right. Did you see that out of a lot of guys, or was the percentage smaller?
Small, just small. In my, experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say you got 15, 16 years under your belt.
Yes.
So if you saw, we saw 10 Filipino women, that we just used as an example. 5 were there for the better deal, and the other 5 were there for the committed relationship.
Yes.
Out of the 10 men that had women come over, how many of them were nice guys, and how many of them were not so nice?
Maybe 4 out
4.
of 10 that are not nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the pendulum swings both ways here.
Yes.
I think maybe there was a nice girl that came over with full intention of being a loving, helpful wife.
Right.
And the guy screwed it up.
Yep.
And he wasn't so nice.
Yeah.
There, I can see the woman wanting out. I get it.
Yeah.
But we won't belabor it, but we'll just say that 5 out of 10 Filipinas, according to my friend here, is there for a better deal. The other 5 are sincere. And that 4 out of 10 guys that bring a woman over are a little less than desirable as far as spouses or mates.
Yeah.
So those are those stats. You guys can chew on it and comment on it all you want. I have another question for you. What is your comparison between the Philippines and America as far as opportunity?
Oh, my comparison, like the job, well, you get a lot of opportunity working abroad in the United States without worrying about the age, because you can work there as older as you get, as long as you want, as you're still able to work. You can work there like at the age of 60, 50, 60, but here it's not working here in the Philippines. Like 18 years old, 20 years old, I think, or 30, you can hardly find a job here.
May was just confirming that the cutoff date is 30.
Yeah.
Cutoff age is 30. So if you go to Robinson's to apply for a job,
that's crazy.
and May, who's 38 years old, they won't hire her because she's too old.
Yeah.
Would May get a job in America if she went into the department store?
Oh, yeah, sure. She can still work when she goes to America. She can still work. She can look for a job, and
We were talking about it also over lunch, where if all 4 of us were to go back to America today, I'm 68, I can go back to work.
Yes,
I can find a job.
Can, exactly.
I mean, even if I'm just handing baskets out at Walmart, okay, or whatever it is, there is an opportunity. And I don't have to have a diploma, do I?
No need any diploma. You can be a successful person there in the United States as long as you are a hardworking person. Yes.
So is that probably the most impressive thing to you about America? Is the
things
freedoms
I like
and
about America, yeah.
Okay, so you like about America, you like the opportunity. What about freedom of speech?
The freedom of speech, you can say whatever you want to say, and then they motivate you to. They push you out. Like for example, like if you want to exercise, and then they see you doing that, they give you motivation. Like they keep telling you to keep going. But what I've noticed here in the Philippines, when they see you exercising, they're kind of like they're like, oh, why are you exercising?
That's crab mentality.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What that means,
yeah,
right?
crab mentality.
Crab mentality. For those that don't know, crabs, when they're put in a bucket, they try to crawl out. As soon as one starts to reach the top, the other ones pull it back down. They don't want that one to escape.
Yeah.
So I think that over here, there's a lot more jealousy. There's a lot more envy. If they see somebody starting to elevate, they want to pull them back down.
Exactly.
In America, not everyone, but many people, if they see you start to elevate,
they help each other.
You.
Yeah, they encourage you to be a successful person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were a counselor and you were talking to a 23-year-old Filipino woman right now that's thinking about going to America. She's talking to a guy, and maybe they've met and there's been the same dynamic. Would you encourage her to go?
As long as her purpose is pure, not like just to go there to grab all this opportunity and forget about the husband. Because husband is always first. Yeah. And that's the reason why you're able to get to the United States, because of your husband, right?
And you can always come home, right?
Yeah, you can always come home, but that's not a good thing.
Now, are you and Jeff thinking about coming back here and retiring, or are you going to go home and think it over? Because you're out here kind of on a trip. Has it been fun for you to come here and go see your family and all that?
Yes, it's been like 4 years since the last time I came to the Philippines because of this COVID. And yep, it's always nice to come home, to be back home. Yes,
No
and it's
place
more
like home,
it's more fun in the Philippines, and it's cheaper. Yes.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much
Welcome.
for coming on the
Thank
little
you for
channel.
having us.
I hope it
having
was
me.
entertaining. I hope it was informative. If you have a comment, feel free to leave it. And we will see you crazy people in the next video.
Bye.